Hey, Maximize, thanks for joining me today. Hey, wanted to preface this episode that there's some poor quality in the beginning, but if you can work through it, you'll learn a lot about what Corey and I are working through to help high performers to think of themselves as royalty, not only themselves as a king or queen, but how you can be a king or queen maker in your life to really fulfill destinies and fulfill purpose and potential in your life. So, without further ado, let's get started. Welcome. This is an audio experience with Maximizing Moments with Milton. Hello, Maximizers. Thank you for joining me on this 2.1 episode. I'm with Corey Sigvaldason. Did I get that right, Corey?
You got it right, Milton.
That's an awesome last name. Just a little bit about Corey Maximizers. Is that Corey is right now he's an ELP, CBB, MBA, PhD student, leader in high performance and founder of HOP Hop. Corey's life's work is researching and teaching individuals, businesses, and organizations how to increase organizational performance and effectiveness. Corey is known for stretching people and organizations to grow to their potential by thinking, what if? Corey brings a great deal of experience and energy to his clients. He is a national speaking champion, author, speaker, and trainer. Corey has helped thousands of businesses over the years start, grow, or sell their business and has worked with municipalities, provinces, and nations and led local, provincial, national organizations. Corey now shares his experience and knowledge through the HOP Performance Institute and HOP Performance Leadership Programs worldwide. Corey sees himself as a lifelong learner, and to that end is the final stages of completing his PhD in management. Corey continues to teach and develop programs as well as head up training sessions and consulting around the world. Corey is the man that believes in his vision and strives to leave every place he touches better than how he found it. Love that intro, Corey, and that bio. Why don't you just unpack a little bit more for us, give us some more context, and catch us up. What brought you up to this stage in your life?
Well, it's a great question. The first thing you'll notice, just based on some of the languaging there, I'm a Canadian, so I'm a little north of the border for probably most of your listeners, and I'm starting to talk about provinces rather than states. So, proud Canadian, very fortunate enough at this stage of my life to have been able to travel the world and still get to do that, doing the work I love to do, impacting individuals. I'm, a happy husband and father of two wonderful girls who are 8 and 10. And, it's interesting. We all have kind of a life path and chapters of our life that are from the past that lead us to this current chapter in our life. And we have this wonderful opportunity looking forward and growing into the possibilities yet to evolve in our life. And I'm just grateful that I've had some pretty cool people that I've got to experience my life with to this point and continue to, and lots of opportunities and things to do to create that ripple of impact moving forward.
That is wonderful. And just looking at your bio, Corey, I want to ask you a couple questions. So what does it mean to you to be a high performer as you consider yourself a thought leader in that category?
Well, it's interesting because for a number of years, until even just recently, it was the start of this year, I was having a conversation with someone, and I think a lot of high performers, it's about aspiring to be the king or queen in your field of expertise. And, that tends to be fairly specialized. To be a high performer at that elite level, like an Olympian or, a multi-millionaire business or billionaire, that takes some time, grit, determination, but, you need to be specialized, I think, a lot of times. But what it is for a lot of high performers that has changed for me is you're aspiring to be a king or a queen. And at this stage, for me, what high performance is actually being a king or queen maker. And leading those people to elite levels of performance. And I know I was driven by a burning question at that age of about 10 years old, between 10 and 12. I wish I knew the exact day, because it wasn't one of those light bulb eureka moments. It was just this burning question that I look back now and I've been able to capitalize on. And it was, can average people from average circumstance achieve elite level success in their life? And because everyone desires or wants more and wishes for greater success and what comes with that. However, very few people achieve the level of success to their desires that they have. And what I found is it's really two reasons that people don't achieve the level of success, or the majority of people rather. And it comes down to two simple things in my mind. It's people either give up too easy or too quick.
I love that. I'm taking notes for myself, so thank you.
You're welcome.
So tell me, Corey, tell me about this. What is it about the what if thinking when you're helping people to tap into their potential? And I talk a lot about maximizing people's potential, but you're talking about the what ifs. What is that? What are you pertaining to that?
Well, I like playing the $1 billion question. So if I said, Milton, if you were given $50 billion, right? The only caveat, you have $50 billion or unlimited funds, just call it unlimited financial resources and access to people, perfect health, and you have time and financial freedom to do whatever you want. The only caveat is you can't live like a rock star and just travel the world and party your face off. You have to be contributing still to the world. What would you do if literally there was really nothing holding you back? And it opens up the mind to think in a different way. And there's a neurobiology to that, because it makes you access a different part of our subconscious to start thinking. And then we start thinking what ifs. And anyone that's went out and bought a lottery ticket.
Yeah, there's always a what if in that.
People do what ifs all the time.
All the time.
Right? So it's getting us thinking about the possibilities, and then not buying into the limiting beliefs that we can put on ourselves, and part of that's evolutionary to protect ourselves. And I get it. I just don't feel it's fair. And I want to bring out the best in people and myself.
Yeah.
And part of that is thinking about what if potentials in our life. So say, for instance, your business, traditional performance management and goal setting theory would have you look at that and go, okay, we did $1 million last year. What are we going to do next year? And in most organizations, they'll look at that and they'll go, okay, we're going to want a 10 or 15% bump this year. It's some percentage bump over the previous year. Is that what you've seen as well?
Yes.
Is that the standard? Okay.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been fortunate enough to deal with thousands of businesses now that's pretty much what everyone does. And I get that works, but what you get is incremental performance bumps. And what I want to do with people is create exponential growth and actually break the mold. And you can't do it by asking the wrong questions. So you have to ask better questions. So one of the first questions a person might ask if they had $1 million year last year is, am I $1 million company? Or am I a $50 million a year company or a $100 million a year company that's not there yet?
Yeah.
Because that has a whole new set of planning and goals attached to it.
Right. What if? I think that for me, just listening to you, it snaps you out of the current or the past, even the perception you have about any task or goal, and asking the what if question puts you in a whole realm of possibilities. And it takes your mindset from what is to what could be. And I think that's such a profound way to think about growth and tapping into other people's potential and maximizing their potential and purpose in life by asking those questions. So maximizers, if you don't ask those what if questions, I think you're doing yourself a disservice and stunning your own growth. What can potentially be some of the greatest breakthroughs you've ever experienced in your life. And so I appreciate you talking about that, Corey.
Well, and I appreciate it. And I have to do it with myself too, Milt.
All the time.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, did I?
I lost you. I lost you there for a second.
Oh, sorry about that.
No,
I
no,
was
that's
just
okay.
saying,
Go ahead. Oh,
yeah, I was saying that for me, thinking about the what if, it helps me get past those times where I'll justify or make excuses for, wherever I'm at the time. And it's a slippery slope because it's, you aren't getting up at that hour you wanted. So you'd get up, do your workout, do those things that you want to do before starting the rest of your day. Like it's, you need to get really good at the little things to excel at the big things.
right. I think a lot of people overlook that excelling, doing the little things well, because it's in the little things that you'll be, I think, blessed and the doors be open to the bigger things in life. And I think that's so important when it comes to thriving, just in yourself and not only with yourself. And if you're thriving, then those that are around you in a relationship with you can thrive as well. And so I think that's so important and so key to think about.
I love it. And that whole idea of thinking with little, there's actually a story from the Bible, and I'm not going to make this religious, but
No, you're
it's
fine.
the parable of the talents, right? Where, there's these three individuals that were given different amounts of money, and, the ones that, took risks and moved more into the what if were blessed that much more than the one that basically went and buried it and tried playing it safe and was worried about the other what ifs, that you see in project management, which is risk management. Oh, what if this happens? They think the opposite way. You're either looking about what could happen in behind you or, rather than focusing forward. And we're supposed to be going forward.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Looking up and forward.
Up and forward. I love that. Maximize, if you find yourself on your back, you're already looking up, but then you get up to move forward. So I love that thought. And I'm excited. This is like meat for me. This is a meal to talk to you, Corey, about some of these high performing concepts and the what ifs and maximizing other people's potential. But I do want to get into our maximize moment questions, and I'll probably have you on to talk a little bit more about the things that are inspiring you right now and things that are motivating you when it comes to HOP and when it comes to what you're seeing in your consulting services and things you're doing. Are you ready to get into those questions at all?
Yeah, fire them at me.
All right. So, Corey, give me your favorite quote and explain why and how it helps you.
I have two, if I may. The first one I'll say is from Maya Angelou, and she says, "Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it." And that's one sentence, but there's a ton in it. So liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. The second one is from the Bible. It's Galatians 6:9. It says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we'll reap a harvest if we do not give up." And for those that don't know, I've done consulting work for Spartan Race, and I was called Dr. Grit. So this is the essence of grit and not giving up. And going back to those two things that hold us back from success, giving up too early or too quick, that one just speaks to me. And, my own faith lead me to look to that particular scripture.
I love that Maya Angelou quote, because the last part of that, it says, and liking how you do it. And I think that's one key aspect of success that a lot of people overlook. And to me, and that may talk to you differently, but to me, it talks about integrity.
Big time.
And character. And I believe integrity and character maximizers are really the foundation for success. Because if you're not walking with integrity or walking with character, you have cracks in your foundation. Those are things that can easily shake you off course, things that can easily undermine your success or even sabotaging your success. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, and on that, it speaks to integrity, but it also speaks to contribution and impact. Mm-hmm. Right? And liking the contribution you're making and the impact you're having.
Love it.
And not from a point of ego or pride.
That's right. Good. Love that. Thanks for sharing that, Corey. My next question for you is this. Give me a moment when looking back, you felt you let slip away and it impacted your life at some level.
Last quarter, so the first quarter of 2018, I was on the road quite a bit. I was president of a private accredited college here in Canada that I owned, and I was doing training and some speaking, and I was gone for most of the first quarter and away from my wife and kids, and spent maybe 3 weeks at home during that time. And it hurt. It just hurt. Like, all the positive experience of what I was doing and where I was going was so shallow to me. And I said, I can't do this anymore. And my wife and I actually made a decision to homeschool our kids this year, so we would have the freedom and flexibility for them to join me when, I go on the road or have these opportunities, so we can share that together. And I was feeling guilty too. I'm getting to go to different parts of the world and see things that many people would love to do in their lifetime, and I'm having this opportunity, yet I'm not able to do it with the ones that I love most. And that's one that slipped away, but I won't be doing that again.
Amen to that. Thanks for sharing how that impacted your life, Corey. I think that's important. Family, if you don't have that with you, then it's all about relationships and your health, right? In the end of life, your relationships are probably the most important thing that you'll ever want in your life outside of any other success. So if your relationships are successful, keep that, run with that.
Yeah.
Next question for you, Corey, is have you ever had a time where you knew there was more for you to do in life or accomplish, but were in a position or job or career that didn't quite line up with that? How did you maximize that moment?
Well, there's two examples, and they're, in the past 5 years. The first one, I left a very nice, comfortable position with a university where I was leading all their executive education and consulting, and didn't renew my contract. And I spent some months, rather than jumping for the sake of security and a paycheck, I really decided to look at what's the purpose and calling in my life. And in doing that, it opened up the door to much happier things. I was able to partner with a friend in their private college and develop executive education and consulting there, which ultimately gave me an opportunity to buy the private college and do that. But then this past fall, like in December, it was September when I made the decision. I felt I moved away from that calling, and I was getting too busy managing and not doing the things that I love doing, and I just wasn't around family enough. And I felt I needed to pursue the passion and the hop work, and had to make a real tough call. And, and it was a financial risk and things. It was a the most difficult decision I've ever made, but I shut down the college and voluntarily deregistered the college beginning of this year, and have went on to focus solely on the corporate training and consulting, and building the Hop Performance Institute, which was really the 3-year plan. The plan was to build up the college, to $100 million entity, and then, go sell or, capitalize on that, and then focus on the hop stuff. But, there was other bigger plans, and that's what I did.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Wow. Hope you guys are listening, Maximizers. Next question for you, Corey, is do you have a story of a time that when Maximize the Moment was important or meaningful to you?
Absolutely. It was June 2008. I was in North India. I was teaching for a university pre-MBA program there, a post-bac in international business marketing. And during some of my free time, I sponsored some medical clinics in some of the shanty towns, so some of the poorest areas of the world. And I remember going into this one community, and it was literally off the side of the road, and people lived under garbage bags with sticks. There was a family of 6 underneath, something like that. And there's about 300 people there. And I still have a picture from that day of about 25 kids underneath this one structure, smiling at me and waving. Mm-hmm. And I remember that moment so vividly, and I'm glad I have the picture, because when I got back in the vehicle with these 7 other men I had just met 20 minutes earlier, I told them, how it was so weird to realize how happy they were despite the terrible life circumstance in that moment that we shared together. And the director of the group told me that the sad thing is 95% of those children won't see their 13th birthday.
Wow.
And even when I tell that story now, I near break into tears, because I knew in that moment that I had to do something to change that situation and make the world better for children like them and their families. So I know my why, and that's changing the world through education and entrepreneurship, and it came from that experience.
Wow, you have a true anchor, Corey, and I appreciate you sharing that. That's a powerful anchor when it comes to the moments that you maximize in your life. So thanks for sharing that to our audience. Oh, wow. Here's $1 million question for you. How would you define a maximizing moment?
Being present for others and making your life better while feeling fulfilled and happy myself.
Serving, but also never neglecting yourself. Love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So being present for those there, and it's not necessarily about earth-shattering things. Like, a lot of people look elsewhere rather than the diamonds in their own backyard. And for me, a maximizing moment is when I'm with my wife and daughters and spending moments with them.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Also, maximizers love immediate action steps, so steps they can take in their own life. But what 3 immediate action steps would you give to a person to maximize a defining moment in their life?
Number 1, be happy and grateful. I learned this from my mother, who, after a number of years was in a car accident, became a quadriplegic, and ended up in a wheelchair. And, it was advice she gave me. When I asked her the definition of success, she says, being happy and grateful, because there's a lot of people out there worse off than me. And a lot of people would look at someone who's a quadriplegic and say that's like the worst state. So be happy and grateful. Number 2, dream big. Think about the what if possibilities for your life. And 3rd, serve greatly and focus on ROI, return on impact.
Love that. Return on impact. Be happy and grateful, dream big, serve greatly, and focus on return on impact. Love that ROI. Great, great, great. Awesome. Corey, I've enjoyed this so far, but just do you have any, for a couple minutes, do you have any parting words that you want to share to the Maximizers, comments or instructions you want to give to them?
Well, I want to thank them for the time first, for listening and following you, Milton. And, quick tidbits, love and serve more. Adopt a what-if philosophy for your life. Focus on energy and priority management, not time management. Ask better questions. And rather than aspiring to be a king maker. That is where the most opportunity for return on impact lies and where very few play. So if you want to differentiate, be a king or a queen maker. And then focus on the drivers and superchargers of performance. And this is where my PhD and the HOP model lies.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Corey and Maximizers. I know you've gotten a lot out of that. I surely have. I'm taking notes and I appreciate all of this. And as our last question for you, Corey, how can the audience, Maximizers, find you? What are you promoting? Book, website, videos, etc.?
Come check out the hopperformanceinstitute.com. I will forward you the website address. We also have the Hop Nation podcast, so we get a bunch of speakers ourselves. So I invite them to check that out. And, if they're ever interested in a speaker trainer, we have a number of keynotes and training workshops, and love to chat sometime about the game changer equation or our HOP MMBA.
Wonderful, wonderful. Maximizers, please join Corey on his journey as well. If you have more questions, please reach out to him as he will explain where you can reach him at. I've enjoyed this time, Corey, and all that you're doing. Truly, you are making an impact, and there's not enough people in the world that can bring inspiration to lives and helping others maximize their true potential and purpose in life. And Maximize, every time I do these episodes, that my heart is always to give you the best and also make sure that you're maximizing any given moment in your life towards success. On that note, Corey, thank you for your time. Thank you, and for your energy and your compassion for others. Appreciate you. God bless you. God bless you, everyone.